Big Ten teams. He said playing in games like this is a challenge for his guys, but it's an opportunity for them. It really excites them, and it's a chance for them to dig deep, come together as a team, and really learn from this experience to prepare them for conference play. Guys.
Thanks a lot, Kara. Panthers have plenty of good tests in non-conference play. There is a look at head coach Marty Simmons. We're about ready to go here. Umar Ballo and Rodolfo Bolis for the tip. Ballo wins it, and Indiana will start. Hoosiers are 1-0 this year after an 80-61 win over SIUE. The Panthers are 1-1, defeated D3 Earlham 97-61 earlier this week. First miss of the game, Malik Renew trying to go inside, and now Zion Fruster rebounds, and RT Stapleton takes it up, the point guard for Eastern Illinois. Here is Fruster. A lot of transfers on this Eastern Illinois team. Fruster is one of them from the University of Virginia Wise. Three ball on the way is good. Nikyle Shelton from downtown. First 3 points for the Panthers. Shelton averaged 11 points last year. Renew down low for Ballo, the Arizona transfer. Turns, finds Mbako cutting to the basket for the two-handed flush.
Well, for Eastern Illinois, they're going to have to double up on Ballo with that size advantage, but that leaves a man open, and Mbako makes no mistake.
Career high 31 on Wednesday, the Big Ten co-freshman of the year a year ago. Here's Cooper Jacoby. Bolis, the big man for the Panthers. Curling around to screen Shelton. 6 left on the timer, driving to the basket, couldn't get it to go. Second chance goes in for Jacoby. Fruster got past Mbako, and Jacoby puts it in. 5-2 in favor of Eastern Illinois. Here's Miles Rice, Indiana's new point guard, a transfer from Washington State. Ballo, the big man down low, had a great second half. Good kick out, nice ball movement. Mbako tries a three and connects. 5 points for Mbako. He is well on his way to potentially setting a new career high.
Well, and it's the same way he started in that SIUE game. He came out shooting early. They gave him opportunities in the first quarter.
Knocked down 4 of 5 from downtown on Wednesday. Now Indiana creates a turnover. Here is Rice. He moves the ball so quickly down the floor, that time gets tripped up. And the first foul of the game. That's where Rice is so dangerous, Alex, in transition.
Yeah, he's got that speed, and that's something that Mike Woodson has been wanting to get from that transfer portal. Some guys that are speedy, athletic, to try and move the tempo a little bit. That's something they lacked last year. It got a little bit stagnant in the half-court offense.
Rice struggled with that pace a little bit in the first half against the Jaguars on Wednesday. Ballo draws the double. Quick find inside, Renew for an easy bucket. Malik Renew led the team last year with a shade over 15 points. The junior, RT Stapleton. Now it's Shelton. He tries another one from distance. That time it's off the mark. Renew skies for the rebound. We're going to see Renew take the ball up the floor much more this year. Here's Carlisle on the curl off the top of the backboard, and it goes out of play. Caden Carlisle, another transfer from a former Pac-12 school in Stanford. Struggled a little bit from the field on Wednesday, just 1 for 5, but that is his shot from the mid-range, especially curling off a screen.
Going back to the last possession by EIU, trying to work those screens, try and find things from outside the arc. That's where they're going to really have to find most of their success.
Here's Culley, the Evansville transfer, and he traveled as he was trying to hand the ball off.
And I think you're going to see Culley get plenty of opportunities in this game. He's a guy who's come off the bench for most of his career, but he is the tallest guy they've got available, and he's still 2 inches shorter than Umar Ballo. They're going to really need him to bang around the post.
We talked to Marty Simmons earlier this week. He said positioning is going to be so big, and that time Ballo couldn't get inside on Culley, but instead gets the right-handed hook shot to go, and it's 9-5 Indiana. Stapleton now at his 5th different school. Nice crossover move on Rice. Turns at the block and throws it up. Ball is deflected, and Rice will send it ahead, trying to find Renew, but it's taken back by Culley.
Great recovery there.
Panthers will get a second chance. They'll try a 3 ball, and it's good. There is Zion Fruster. He made 33s last year, although he missed the final month of the season due to injury. Carlisle trying to respond in the air, gets it out to Rice. 9-8 Hoosiers lead over the Panthers 4 minutes in. Ballo now to Mbako, 11 on the timer. Trying to get it back to Ballo. He does that and he's fouled before the shot, so it will not count. And Oumar Ballo will go to the free throw line. And we will take it to our first break here. Indiana leads over Eastern Illinois after 4 minutes and 10 seconds of play. Oumar Ballo will go to the free throw line. Taking a look at Marty Simmons, someone who knows this place very well, spent 2 years here and has had plenty of time in the Hoosier State. Coached at SIUE for 6 years, coached at Evansville for 12 years, and is back here in the Hoosier State as his team is facing Indiana. 29-67 over his 4 seasons. 312 career wins in his long coaching career.
One of several homecomings that have been staged here in the early season for Indiana. Of course, Pat Knight with Marion in the exhibition. And just a chance to kind of go full circle in this early year for the Hoosiers before getting really into the deep slate of their season.
So Ballo will go to the line after he was fouled before the break. The Arizona transfer. Actually, it was before the shot, so it was on the floor. So Indiana will inbound. Carlisle asking for a screen from Renew. Finds Ballo inside. This time he goes to the rack, can't get it to go. Second time of asking, had it knocked away. The ball goes out of bounds, and it will be Indiana ball.
It was a good recovery from the Panthers, because Ballo had the room, and while he misses the first shot, they then are able to hound him, and it's Stapleton who knocked it away.
He's going to draw the double quite a lot this year. Renew draws the double that time and gets it off the glass with his left hand. Renew up to 4 points, and Indiana's lead back up to 3.
And while that too-big look that Indiana have can clog the paint at times, when you're able to have 2 guys that are capable of drawing the double, you can kind of make things work.
It has worked so far for the 2 big men, who now have combined for 6 points. Fruster. Crossover dribble gets by Carlisle. Now with 4 on the timer, Shelton's gonna have to make something happen. He hoists and connects. Shelton, his second 3 of the game.
Hand in his face, no problem.
Mbako fakes the 3, drives baseline, kicks it out. Carlisle for 3. Can't respond. Ballo tried to tip it out. Ball goes towards the corner. And Culley grabs the rebound, and the Panthers can try and grab the lead. Shelton, 42% from the field last year. Only took 9 threes last year, but he's already got 3 makes in this game. All from downtown. Shelton has 9 of Eastern Illinois' 14, and the Panthers are up by 3.
That time around, they were able to get him a better look, had space, and even with Mbako's long frame, he was able to get it over him.
Mbako couldn't get the positioning on Stapleton, who grabs it and go all the way. Coast to coast, Stapleton scores. The big get for Eastern Illinois in the transfer portal. Played only 10 games last year after suffering a season-ending injury with Missouri, Kansas City. Eastern Illinois trying to play fast. Indiana trying to slow things down. Both Mbako and Renew went up for the rebound after Renew missed. Eastern Illinois comes down with it. Shelton tries again. He is human. He does miss this time. And Mbako takes it up. Bounce pass to Rice, driving in the lane. Back to Mbako, and he absolutely took out Shelton along the way and gives Mbako an easy bucket.
That time it was Indiana's turn to try and push the pace. They're able to do that. They want to try and slow it maybe a little bit with the way that the Panthers have been running the floor. That's a huge basket to get, though.
Especially with Indiana having 2 bigs on the floor. Got to be careful when to speed things up. Jacoby drives left baseline. Good defense from Renew. Cully, Renew coming in and gets the ball and grabs the steal. Rice the other way, coast to coast. Great pass to Ballo. Pump fakes, gets his man in the air, finishes, plus the foul.
And that's the strength again from Umar Ballo. Man jumping all over his back and is able to push through it to get the bucket.
So this time Ballo does go to the free throw line. Ballo had 15 points and 6 rebounds on Wednesday. Was just at about 50% last year from the charity stripe. Asked for the pass back from the official, which catches everyone off guard. Clearly needs a minute after that.
Making sure the ball is up to spec.
Gets it to go. And now Trey Galloway checks into the game for Ballo.
This is where the Hoosiers can go a little bit smaller. You still have some size with Malik Renew, and you bring in Bryson Tucker, who's a long player, but Galloway then gives you a chance to have essentially 2 point guards on the floor.
Pass down low, and the turnaround jumper is good from Shelton. Boy, Shelton has been fantastic so far, already into double figures.
He's hitting all kinds of shots, tough shots, and that's exactly what Eastern Illinois are going to need to have. They're not going to get a lot of amazing looks. They got to make the most of what they get.
Shelton knocked down a team best 38 threes last year. That time he got the 2, and Renew gets the 2 himself on the other end of the floor. 18 points apiece, just 8 minutes into this one. Both offenses clicking, even with this earlier Sunday noon start. Shelton now guarded by Galloway. Renew comes in there, tries to pry the ball away, but a foul is called.
Renew wanted that jump ball, but just a little bit too overeager.
Takes us to our second media timeout. 18 points for Indiana, 18 points for Eastern Illinois. We'll be back in a moment here on Big Ten Plus. 18 points apiece. So we take a look at the Indiana huddle. One of those guys being one of the biggest prizes in the transfer portal. For more on that, we send it down to Kara Adams.
Thanks, Austin. Umar Ballo is one of those pieces. He's actually had quite the journey to get to IU. 2 years at Gonzaga, 3 at Arizona, and now he's here with IU for his final season. He's originally from Mali and one of the top international prospects in 2019, and we've seen just how beneficial he is to this IU team already. His presence on the inside is so strong. We've seen some great connections with him and Malik, and on Wednesday's night game, we saw his connection with Trey Galloway, so he'll certainly be a key factor for this Indiana team, guys.
Thanks, Kara. Yeah, Ballo had a really good second half, which really propelled Indiana to that 19-point victory. He struggled a little bit in the first half, especially drawing so many double teams.
Yeah, he's a guy that works at his best when he's got providers around him. That's what he had when he was at Arizona. He's not always going to be that star on his own. He needs some help, and Trey Galloway was the big piece. Lobs up to him, connecting down the stretch of that game against the Cougars of SIUE.
Galloway had a fantastic game with 9 assists. Was the first major conference player in the last decade to have 9+ assists in 17 minutes or less. There goes Frooster to the basket against Tucker, but couldn't get it to go. Good defense from Bryson Tucker, the freshman, and now he'll bring the ball up the floor for the Hoosiers. Galloway down low to Renew, through the double team and scores.
How about that, a little up and under action around the two players. It was a great feed from Galloway, even better finish from Renew.
Renew up to 8 points in this one. Eastern Illinois trailing by 2. Jacoby goes to the basket, spins to that left and scores over Renew. Cooper Jacoby on the All-OVC preseason watch. Spent 2 years at Toledo, won a pair of MAC titles, redshirted as a sophomore, and someone who played at Silver Creek High School. He's from Sellersburg, Indiana. Mbako down the lane, he goes and he scores again. Mackenzie Mbako, he can beat you from beyond the arc and he can beat you to the basket as well. And the sophomore has looked great in these first 2 games.
Yeah, it's the variety of shots, Austin, that's been the most impressive. Shooting it from deep was something we all knew he could do coming in as a freshman, but the ability to drive, take the mid-range when he has it, that's really the evolution of his game.
Another 3-ball on the way from Shelton. This time it was short. Ball batted around and Galloway can take it up the floor with some speed. To Goody, the Illinois transfer. Trying to knock down his first 3 of the year. That one was a little bit short. And the rebound into the hands of Obadiah Curtis. Curtis the other way, lost control of it, and Tucker swipes it away from him. Tucker ahead to Mbako, a little bit ahead of him, and that is an Indiana turnover. Margins are slim when you're trying to get the ball ahead, especially with a double team like Mbako had. And here comes Gabe Cupps into the game as Mbako checks out.
Getting a bit frenetic over the past 3 or 4 possessions either way. Both teams trying to push the pace and just losing the handle.
And halfway through this first half, it's 22-20, so both offenses are looking pretty good. Here goes Stapleton to the basket, may have been blocked by Galloway. Tucker the other way. Stapleton trying to get back in position. So Cupps and Galloway alongside Tucker, the guards in this set. Still no Anthony Leal for Indiana, out for the second straight game. Renew picks up his dribble, finds Galloway cutting the basket, kicks it outside. Goody a corner 3, he got it. Goody's first 3-ball as a Hoosier, the fist pump, you knew that one felt pretty good. Fort Wayne native, went to Homestead. Shot it at 39% last year with the Illini, gets his first with the Hoosiers.
When you're a sharpshooter and you're struggling to find your shot, it really hurts you, and then to be able to finally find it, that's got to feel awfully good. And that's what they need off that quick ball movement to kick it into the paint, then nice out to Goody.
Stapleton missed the 3 there. Goody again, dribbling left, gets in the air, tries to feed it inside to Tucker, but it was taken away by Stapleton. Ahead to Olafioye. And now back with Frooster. Frooster getting a screen from Jacoby. Couldn't handle his dribble, and now Cupps takes it the other way. Bounce pass to Galloway. Got it to go. What a clever up and under, and Eastern Illinois needs a timeout.
Bren really roll off the iron for Galloway in transition. Good piece of fast play, and Indiana starting to find their footing in this fast break situation.
They lead this one 27-20. Quick 30-second timeout here. Indiana with 27. They struggled a little bit offensively at this point on Wednesday against SIUE. It was 27-27, but it feels like Indiana's offense moving with a little bit of pace, and that's working out.
Well, yeah, when you have new faces like the Hoosiers do, 3 transfers in their starting lineup, it sometimes takes a moment to gel in game action. You can run all the sets you want at practice, but you have to be able to do it with defenders that don't know what's coming at them. And so against SIUE and now EIU, they're starting to be able to figure out where their teammates are going to be. Indiana had that a few times where they wanted to kick it out and no one was home. They thought someone was going to be there and they weren't. That's the kind of thing that just gets ironed out with time.
Indiana had 16 turnovers on Wednesday, have been much better with the basketball to this point. That turnover right before the whistle was the 3rd of the game. Now the Panthers will get the ball back into play with Stapleton. Jacoby driving on Langdon Hatton, who's now in the game. Kick out, corner 3 is good from Frooster. Shot it last year at 37%. Frooster's got a 3 in this one. Galloway driving the other way. Ball finds its way to Tucker. His shot was short from mid-range, and then Goody with the foul on Shelton. Timeout on the floor. It's immediate timeout, so we'll take it with them. Indiana leading Eastern Illinois 27-23 as Luke Goody gets his first 3 ball of the season. Back on Big Ten Plus in a moment.
Makes the Big Ten so big? For starters, it's 18 of the country's most iconic universities. It's Defend the Rock, Jump Around, and the biggest bass drum on earth big. It's a stadium so big.
They had to name it the Big House. Go Blue!
It's dotting the I big.
Let's go Bucks.
It's all-time leading scorer big. And now that USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington have joined the party, it's feeling real big. Right, Matt?
I'm ready. Fight on. Boys up, baby.
Let's get it. Go Dogs.
Nah, it's all about the O.
The Big Ten Network. This is big.
In the spring of '72, the FCC added 2 words to an affirmative action clause that applied to local TV station hiring, and women. For the first time, local stations around the country would be looking for women. The image of a woman and a man sitting together in apparently equal positions had a big impact. I'm Jane Pauley, broadcast journalist and graduate of Indiana University.
Back here at Assembly Hall, we've talked about some of Indiana's big gets in the transfer portal, but for more on one of the Panthers' biggest prize possessions, we send it down to Kara Adams.
Thanks, Austin. And that's right, Archie Stapleton. He just joined this Eastern Illinois team in the summer. But Coach Marty Simmons told me that he is already a vital piece to this team. And he actually compared them to IU's Miles Rice because of the way he's able to make guys around him better, but also his own ability to score the ball. He said he's a great facilitator and such a hard worker and brings enthusiasm and energy every day to their team. And he's a great leader. And Eastern Illinois is going to need him today to stay in this one.
That's right, Kara. It's something that Marty Simmons talked to us about earlier this week, was the experience and the veteran guys leaning on in a game like this, in an atmosphere like this.
And it'll help that they had a very similar game against Illinois to kick off their season, a similar ranked Big Ten opponent, very similar in terms of the type of player you're going to be up against. And you can rely on those veteran guys to try and run the pace, and you have that in your point guard as well, and I think that's even more important. We've already seen him really keep his head up, trying to find his teammates to work in those fine margins.
Yeah, Stapleton had his 5th different school last year at Missouri, Kansas City, only played in 10 games. Indiana applying a little bit of a press, but Stapleton gets through it without a problem. Stapleton driving right, good crossover dribble between his legs, nearly lost control of the ball, and resets with Shelton. Shelton pulls up for a mid-range J and knocks it down.
Shelton is just a shot finder. Takes his space, doesn't need much, and he can operate at all three levels. We've seen it already.
He's got 13 points already, averaged just 11 last year. There's a turnover, and Stapleton comes away with it. Back to Shelton, driving the lane to his left around Galloway, and he scores again. Now Kyle Shelton with 15 points so far, and just like that, the last 7 points have all been scored by the Panthers. Langdon Hatton struggled in his 2 minutes that he played in on Wednesday, the Bellarmine transfer, and the backup center behind Ballo. Goody finds Cups in the corner. He will fire a three, missed it short. Cups trying to follow his rebound. Finally ends up in the hands of Obadiah Curtis. Stapleton running the floor. Trying to get around Bryson Tucker, who's done a good job on him. Stapleton gets it back, a floater from practically the free throw line, miss, and the ball gets knocked out of bounds. It'll be Hoosier basketball.
That's the problem they're gonna have, is you wanna take those layups, those floaters. You really can't against this Indiana team with the size that they have, even without Oumar Ballo in the game. You're gonna try and take those shots from a little bit further out, or not the high percentage shots that you're looking for. And that's why, again, I feel like Eastern Illinois, when you have a shooter like Shelton, you really have to live outside the arc right now.
Shelton had 16 points in the season opener against Illinois last week. Here's Goody again. Finds himself in a double team in the corner, but Galloway curls around and bails him out. With 10 on the timer, Galloway driving left into the lane, and an offensive foul is called. And it's Langdon Hatton who gets called for it, and then we'll check out for Oumar Ballo.
Leans the hip right on into Olafioye. That's kind of just another one of those things, a little bit of inexperience from the backup in the post for Indiana.
Now 5 turnovers for the Hoosiers. Stapleton. Both Galloway and Tucker have guarded him to this point. They've both done pretty well, but open man down low. Couldn't get it to go. That was Rodolfo Bolis, who only started in the first 2 minutes of this one. Ballo dribbles the ball off his foot, but Goody is there to pick it up. Rice will slow things down. Galloway back to Ballo. There's that pick and roll. He stops and then finds the open look, and another easy layup for number 11.
That's the connection to watch all year long, the pick and roll action with Galloway, who's had several strong post presences over his career at Indiana. Ballo just adding to that.
Already Galloway's 4th assist of the game. Still 5 minutes left in the first half. Galloway going to have such a different role this year coming off the bench. He's been a great distributor so far. Olafioye couldn't get it to go as the Hoosiers went under the ball screen, and Rice can take it the other way for Indiana. Through the double, magnificently. Rice practically taking it all by himself, but was fouled. Rice is just so crafty with his ball handling. He can go high, he can go low, and dribble through anybody he wants.
Exactly, and he's a guy who, he had a few issues with turnovers in the first game, but Mike Woodson said those are a few things where it's just getting into game action, learning where to pass, where to hold. But otherwise, he's got that pace, an injection that Indiana really didn't have last year, trying to run through guys. He's got the strength like he showed there to push through. And then it's really just an all-arounder there from the point position.
Rice to the line, 81% last year, and that first one was short. Rice, one of the 2 co-captains alongside Galloway.
That says a lot about how Mike Woodson views him, coming in as a sophomore who had a great freshman campaign, but to be able to say, hey, you're going to be my point guard to start the game, you're going to be a co-captain, you're a guy that I want to be leading a very veteran group of guys.
Pac-12 Freshman of the Year a year ago, knocks down the second, splits the pair. Indiana leads 30-27. Carlisle now guarding Stapleton. Carlisle figures as one of the best on-ball defenders for IU this year. Frooster, kick out to the corner for Jacoby. Now back to Frooster. Indiana done a great job defensively, not allowing the passes to the perimeter. With 4 to go on the timer, Jacoby's gonna have to hoist one, and a floater in the lane, he got it to go. They took all 30 seconds in the shot clock, but the Panthers do get the basket.
Was just able to get that one step on Mackenzie Mbako. He had him on the defense, then just worked around him at the last second.
And then on the other end, Mbako couldn't hit the three. Stapleton driving out on Ballo. That's a mismatch, but Ballo got his hand in the cookie jar. It will remain with Eastern Illinois, but a good job from Ballo to get the speedy Stapleton. Indiana leads here 30-29 at Assembly Hall. Final media timeout of the first half. We'll be back in a few moments here on Big Ten Plus. Back here at Simon Skjodt Assembly Hall for this Sunday afternoon tip-off. Indiana picked second in the Big Ten preseason poll, only behind Purdue. On the other hand, Eastern Illinois picked sixth in the OVC.
Well, for Indiana, it really comes down to the transfers that they brought in. There's a lot of hype around the guys that they brought in. It'll be interesting to see how that works. They've got a rather easy, on paper, non-conference schedule. As for Eastern Illinois, you never know what can happen in the OVC. It was the third-place team in the end in the regular season, Morehead State, that got the bid to the tournament, winning the OVC tournament. So if you can keep close, it's a really good conference in terms of the parity. You never know what can happen if you can make a run.
Indiana has played some of those OVC teams over the years. Remember last year they struggled with Morehead State. I mentioned they played the Jaguars of SIUE in the season opener here. Coming out of the timeout, it'll be Panther ball. Cooper Jacoby, Indiana native, out to Stapleton from Chicago, and that time an offensive foul. It is Culley on the screen as Carlisle was trying to get around it.
Culley came in hot there and almost just wedged Carlisle between him and his point guard. A tough situation to be in when you got a 6'10 forward running right into you.
Practically turned into a Carlisle sandwich there. Here's Rice, Mbako off a screen. It's Rice, Renew, Carlisle, Ballo, and Mbako for Indiana. Ballo the alley-oop for, rather, that was Renew and alley-oop for Ballo, is just a little bit above his reach. Shelton already has 15 in this game. He played well against Illinois, he scored 16 last Monday. Here's Frooster with the long two. That goes down, and Eastern Illinois up 31-30. It's been back and forth here in this first half.
Well, after seeing what SIUE looked like when they came here, I really like what the Panthers have got going there with their three guards between Stapleton, Frooster, and Shelton.
Indiana trying to answer Carlisle, looking for the foul. Ballo, second time of asking, puts it up and back down. Shelton and Frooster have combined for 23. Stapleton has added 2 as well, so 25 of Eastern Illinois' 31 points have come from those 3 guards. Here is one of them, Stapleton. Boley's down low trying to find a cutting Stapleton, who got it back as both Carlisle and Ballo ended up on the floor, and Stapleton gets his second bucket of the game. Rice the other way, he lost control of it, but Ballo is there. Final 2 minutes and change in this first half. Rice got it stripped away from Stapleton, trying to take it coast to coast. The bounce pass to Frooster. Rice tried to contest, couldn't get it to go. And the basket is good, and a timeout by Indiana, 35-32. Eastern Illinois with the lead. And those turnovers that we mentioned we saw in the first half on Wednesday have returned. The turnover total for the Hoosiers is up to 8.
Yeah, it doubled since last time we talked about it being a bit lower. Again, it's just those few needless ones where they get sped up a little bit, and then they're 2-on-1, making no mistake from those 2 guards we talked about. But again, that's where Eastern Illinois can find their advantage in this game. If they can turn it into more of a track meet, that's where those 3 guards I talked about, speedy, they can find their shots. They're the 3 that are going to drive this game from the Eastern Illinois perspective. If they get out in transition, that's where they're hugely dangerous.
Eastern Illinois had 6 guys in double figures in the 36-point win on Wednesday. And so far it's been so good for them, as Shelton and Frooster both into double figures already. Exactly 2 minutes to play. Hoosiers trailing 35-32 against the Panthers. Indiana shooting 58% as a team. Eastern Illinois at 60. Galloway had an option for a 3. Lob to Renew. Renew working on the right side. Baseline. Finds Mbako for a 3. A little bit short. Indiana's missed some 3s short in this game. Stapleton the rebound. He's going to want to drive quickly. Carlisle got out of his way. Created an easy floater. And another one in for Artis Stapleton. He's up to 6. Nice pass inside for Ballo from Carlisle, and Indiana quickly responds. Boy, this pace has been frenetic so far, Alex.
Yeah, it's been teams that want to just keep pushing the pace. Neither want to slow it down. That's a bit of a different story for Indiana and for Eastern Illinois. That's what they came here with the intent to do, is try and speed this game up and use their advantage.
Stapleton will try a long 3. That wouldn't go. And Mbako and Renew fighting for the rebound. The junior grabs it over the sophomore. Galloway calling for it. Has plenty of room. There's a signature floater. He gets it off the glass and in. 37-36 the lead. Galloway has 4 points in this one off 2 of 2 shooting. Zion Frooster being guarded closely by Mbako. Frooster likes the matchup but hands it back to Shelton, and Nikyle Shelton trying to go around the screen, but that time Boley's knocked over Galloway, and another foul on the screen from the Panthers gives Indiana the ball back.
Another one of those screens outside the arc for Eastern Illinois that sent it the other way. That's what you want to try and have that screen to work off of for your shifty guards, but Boley's and Cully just unable to get themselves set.
There is a 9/10 difference between shot and game clock, so Indiana will hold for the final one. Trailing by 1 against Eastern Illinois in their second game of the season, the 17th ranked Hoosiers. Dealing with a fight right now from the Panthers. Galloway waiting from the screen from Ballo with 8 left. Closely on the double team. Carlisle's going to chuck up a 3. That wouldn't go. Rebound into the hands of the Panthers. A half-court shot is late and a little bit to the right of the target anyways, and that will do it for the first half. Eastern Illinois leads by 1 after 20 minutes of play, 37-36 over Indiana. Nikyle Shelton with 15, Zion Frooster with 10. We'll be back for the second half in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere on Big Ten Plus.
Get set, start play. Give it up for the effort there. He wanted to make sure he made one at the end. Give up your feet for that guy. All right, get set, start dribbling. All right, and then there were three. Get set, start. Just a second. Get set. Get set, dribble. We have our champion. Congrats,
thanks to Coach Hunter. I mentioned being physical and competing on both ends of the floor. We've already seen one upset inside of Assembly Hall this week as Harvard took down the Indiana women's team, and so far the 17th ranked Hoosiers on the men's side at risk of an upset, trailing by 1.
Well, it wasn't an upset a couple years ago in terms of the ranking, but the Panthers also beat Iowa a few years back. But again, you can just see the pace from the Panthers. Indiana have not really been able to get set up and try and slow the pace of this game, even though it's worked for them on the offensive end of the floor. Indiana defensively is going to be at its best when they can get set, make sure that guys like Ballo and Renew are in the paint to try and stop Eastern Illinois from charging in, getting those easy layups, and force them to take some tougher shots.
Eastern Illinois scored their most points in a home opener, 97 against Earlham. That was the most since 2019. You mentioned their struggles against nationally ranked teams, 0-25 all time. They did compete with Kansas, though, last year. The 5th-ranked Jayhawks only lost by 8, and they have 4 wins all time against Power 5 schools. The most recent one, as you mentioned, a few years ago at Iowa. Mikhail Shelton leads the team with 15 points. Frooster has 10. And we've said this 3-guard set has really worked, but here's some more on Eastern Illinois. How about the notable alumni there? A lot of football guys there.
They've got the football sorted, that's for sure, especially on the quarterback side of things. And here they're looking to have their point guard, their vision man, try and run things again, running through Stapleton to try and find their guards in Shelton, who's been very good. Frooster, they can really work the ball around the arc. Again, that's where Indiana's going to want to put them, but they've been up to the task so far. I mean, 5 of 10 from behind the arc as well.
I don't know if you're going to pull an I don't know there, Jim, on me when we mentioned Tony Romo, considering it practically is 1 o'clock and football Sundays are practically beginning here in the U.S., but Eastern Illinois still with a 1-point lead over IU, about 90 seconds away from tip. Indiana didn't really struggle too much against SIUE on Wednesday after it was 27-27. They won on a big 15-3 run to close the half. But the experience, this is something that we talked about with Marty Simmons earlier this week, that this Eastern Illinois team has a ton of guys out of the transfer portal. They've relied on those guys so far, and it's worked out.
Yeah, and just to go back to that run, though, for Indiana, the reason why they did that was because they got to the foul line. It was not a run where they really made a lot of field goals. It was a lot of charging in, drawing fouls. So again, there's that element where for Eastern Illinois, if they can try and slow down the Indiana offense, again, the ball movement has been better for the Hoosiers, but they've shown the ability to turn it over a few times under the right kind of pressure. And when you turn that with the speed of Eastern Illinois in transition, it's very easy to turn turnovers into points for this Panther side.
There's a look at Cooper Jacoby, who has 6 points so far, has not turned the ball over himself. From Sellersburg, won a pair of Indiana Class 3A state titles at Silver Creek, spent 2 years at Toledo. Indiana got to the free throw line 17 times on Wednesday, just 3 so far. They're 2 for 3 from the charity stripe. Meanwhile, Eastern Illinois has not gotten to the free throw line one bit, but when you're 5 for 10 from beyond the arc, you don't necessarily need those at the free throw line.
Yeah, and on the other side for Indiana, the 3 hasn't really been going very well. 2 of 7. They did get that one from Goody, the one at the very beginning of this game from Mbako, who's cooled down slightly. But again, that was the bugaboo for Indiana over the past several years under Mike Woodson, trying to find their way into 3-point attempts. They've been shooting more of them than last year, that's for sure, but they've not really been able to find that consistency from behind the arc given the additions that they've made.
Yeah, 12 out of 14 last year in the Big Ten in 3-point percentage. Mikhail Shelton just in front of us gets the ball back in play. Now the Panthers moving from left to right. Stapleton bounce pass and curling. Shelton fires one up and gets the roll. Mikhail Shelton up to 17 points. And it's a 3-point lead for the Panthers. Indiana's got to find a way to slow him down, especially off the pick and roll. Shelton loves curling off the screen and firing that mid-range. Ballo feeds to Miles Rice. He pulls up from the free throw line himself and connects.
You can see a lot of those screens and shots off of them from these two teams.
And it's Rice's first field goal. It's now up to 3 points. He sent plenty of freshman year records at Washington State last year, including points, field goals, and free throw percentage, as a foul on the other end of the floor. Bolles goes down and struggling to get up. He's holding that left foot or ankle area, slamming his fist on the ground in frustration as he and Carlisle got tangled up.
He came down awkwardly, and Carlisle, as he was falling, was trying to ease the fall a little bit, but again, just maybe turned his ankle just a little bit on the way down. It's so hard when you've got the jumble of bodies coming down for boards.
Bolles, the senior forward from Brazil, played on the Brazil U15, 16, and 17 teams in the South American Championships. And for the first time, Eastern Illinois will go to the free throw line as Bolles head over heels right near the tunnel. And the challenge here for the Panthers and RT Stapleton is to shoot it into the student section with now free fries on the line if the opponents miss both free throws. SIUE missed their first two. And Stapleton, no fries this time, knocks down the first. And gets treated with that, a shower of booze.
Well, you don't want to deny college students free stuff, especially free food. You've got to be prepared for the consequences of doing so.
Stapleton, 8 for 12 last year from the line, 2 for 2 in this one. Panthers lead back up to 3. Culley came in for Bolles. Indiana's got their starting 5 on the floor. Culley went to the ground, but Jacoby picks up the basketball. Bounce pass to Culley. Clever with his right to get around Carlisle and finishes. The Evansville transfer averages 2 points a year. Culley from Sellersburg, Indiana, from Mali. And speaking of international guys, there is Ballo, another guy from Mali. Lays it in with his left, and he's up to 13.
Once again, it was a turnover that led to those 2 points by Culley. For Indiana, they got to be more sound with the basketball. There was a man on the deck as well. They had the player advantage as well and still somehow found a blue jersey.
There have been a couple guys that have struggled so far. At times it's looked like a slip and slide more than a basketball game. Frooster back out to Stapleton. 6 on the timer. Good defense here from Indiana. Here is Shelton with 1 left. Hoists one up. Couldn't get it to go. Followed the rebound for the Hoosiers. Rice moving in transition. Rice to his left, all the way to the basket. Lost control of it. Bounce pass out to Renew. Now to Mbako, right in front of the Indiana bench. Drives baseline, high off the glass. Couldn't get it to go, but was fouled. And Mackenzie Mbako, Indiana's best free throw shooter last year, will go to the charity stripe.
And Indiana really need to try and get his name back on the score sheet. Had those 5 early points at the very beginning. Obviously, we've already talked about his game against SIUE. But when you talk about dynamic offense, a guy who can really create things when he's got good assists around him, proven scorer, you got to be able to look to him on the outside because you can't always run it through the middle with Renew and Ballo.
Mbako knocks them both down. Perfect 3 for 3 on the air. He was at 82% last year to pace the Hoosiers. Panthers led by 1 coming out of the half. They currently lead by 1, 2.5 minutes into the second. Stapleton lost control of the ball, and he traveled in the process, picked up that plant foot. A lot of guys have been going to ground here. Managers have had their work cut out for them, mopping up the floor, and that time a little bit of a double team, little contact, and it was just enough to send Stapleton over.
Yeah, it looked like he just got his foot caught up there and just enough to go uneven.
Carlisle to the corner for Renew. A little bit too strong. Frooster skies for the rebound. Zion Frooster had 10 first half points off 4 of 6 shooting. That time he turns it over. Mbako, ball was rolling on the ground. He picks it up. Ballo down the line, kicks it out. Now it's Rice. Pump fakes. Tries a second chance at a 3. That wouldn't go. Renew gets the offensive rebound, trying to go back up with it. Couldn't get it to go. Third time he scores, and the foul. Third time's the charm for Indiana on that possession.
They had a bit of a wry smile on that third time of asking. It was a scrum in the paint. But again, Indiana has that size advantage, able to show his strength in there, Renew, to put things around.
6'9", 232. Muscled his way to the basket. Now we'll get a chance to finish off the three-point plays. Indiana's on a 6-0 run. Make it 7-0.
But I think as well, Austin, the pace in which the Hoosiers ran that transition, being willing to kick it to that corner to try and find Rice, even though he doesn't make the shot, that's the kind of decision that I think is a change in the philosophy of Indiana from last year to this year.
Indiana came out with a press on this possession, potentially trying to slow the Panthers down. And they do get a stop on this possession. Mbako up the floor, has Renew, who's calling for it, and he's got the two-handed flush. Timeout, Panthers. Indiana a 9-0 run over the last 2:07, and they have jumped out to a 47-43 lead.
The pace for Indiana, Renew all alone, and able to flush it in for two more.
Renew has 13 points, tied with Ballo for an Indiana high. Back in a moment here on Big Ten Plus. We got a good one.
Fans, remember alcohol sales and attendance of the game. We got plenty more games. We're not going to move you to all. For your convenience, be sure all purchases of alcohol beverages occur by this time. Remember, be a good sport and like all drink responsibly.
Indiana back in front here at Assembly Hall as the fans that have filed their way in for this noon start have been much happier with the start of the second half. A big reason why has been Malik Renew. And for more on him, we'll send it down to Kara Adams.
Well, thanks, Austin. And that's right, Malik Renew. Everyone saw that growth and that jump he took from his freshman year to his sophomore year last season. And it looks like he's going to be making another big jump from sophomore year to now in his junior year. He's really been bringing the energy right into the beginning of this second half, pushing the pace, and now IU's on a big run. And we'll look to see him continue that run and really be the leader on this team. Guys?
That's exactly right, Kara. Renew, as you mentioned, led the team last year with 15 points. He's taken already a big jump. The big question with his game is, can he stay on the floor? He's dealt with foul trouble in that first game against SIUE. Was pretty good. He picked up 3 fouls in like 5 minutes or so as he ended up with 4. But so far, just 1 foul in 20 minutes on the floor. And he's a big piece for Indiana's success this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the ability to turn into the team's top scorer last year.
There's a steal off the inbound, and Mbako puts it down with 2 hands.
You know, I look at him similarly as Mackenzie Mbako, the way that Mbako went from freshman year to sophomore year. Renew now experiencing that next jump to go from, yes, I could be the top scorer, to now, what more can I do to be a veteran leader as an upperclassman on this team?
Provided some great defense there, but Jacoby got around him with that left hand and scored. Cooper Jacoby averaged 10.5 points last year. Spent 2 years with Toledo before that, a pair of NIT appearances. And 2 guys linked up there. It was Rice and Malik Olafioye. So with that sorted out, both teams go back to their benches. Here's another look. Guys just like locking arms. Those 2 teams will go to their respective huddles. And we reach our first media timeout here. Indiana up by 4 on Eastern Illinois on Big Ten Plus. 49-45, the lead for the hometown Hoosiers, who, as we see the fans filing in. Indiana 6th in the nation last year in total attendance with nearly 300,000 total. And the student section, well, we've seen some bigger numbers for them, but overall, still obviously the home court advantage that Indiana has is unmatched in the Big Ten.
Well, it all comes down to history and tradition. When you have that build on decades upon decades of both success and just basketball heritage, that's what you get out of it. And that's why Indiana has created such a tough environment to play at if you're a road team, and such a great environment if you're going as a fan regardless of your affiliation.
That's something that Marty Simmons talked about, is the environments his team gets to play in these non-conference games. Says you can use it as a great recruiting tool. If guys can't play at these schools, well, then you can play against them. Ball on the ground. Panthers come away with it. Driving coast to coast is Shelton. Whistle beforehand, and it's a foul on the floor against Indiana. We've seen those loose balls. The Panthers have come away with a few of them.
And for Rice, just trying to break up the pace a little bit. Once he got beat, gets in the way. A foul just to try and prevent another one of those transition points.
There's Olaf Fioye, only had 10 points all of last year. Frooster tries a three, a little strong. Carlisle snatches the rebound out of the hands of Jacoby. Carlisle in transition, trying to go high up off the glass, couldn't get it to go, nearly got his own rebound, but it deflected off him. Quickly the Panthers the other way. Shelton went to his left against Renew. He beat Renew to the basket, but couldn't beat the rim. And Baco trying to respond. He gets the three to go down. And Baco up to 16 points, now 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. Rice gets the assist, his 5th of the game. That leads everyone.
All right, now the eyes just going back and forth, back and forth. That's how quick this game has been going. Hasn't slowed down in the second half.
Frooster, his attempted, whether it was a shot or an alley-oop, it missed everything. Rice trying to get it, tried to bounce it between a pair of Panther legs, but Jacoby holds back onto it. A floater in the lane. Can't quite get the bounce for Culley, and Rice can take it the other way. Miles Rice, the Pac-12 freshman of the year, bounce it inside. Great passing from Indiana, and Renew throws it down. Tic-tac-toe action from Rice to Ballo to Renew, as Rice will get the hockey assist and Ballo with the assist.
Again, quick ball movement, catch, pass, and Ballo showing he can do more than just be a big body in the paint. He can turn provider as well.
Another timeout called by Eastern Illinois. 16-2 run for Indiana over the last 4.5 minutes. They've hit 5 of their last 7 shots and have scored 18 of the 26 total second half points. A lot has been working so far.
Again, and it's also just the pace for Indiana. They're able to keep it up on their end, and they're forcing some tougher shots from Eastern Illinois. It hasn't necessarily been pretty from Indiana defensively in this second half. Still, you have, like that last possession, Malik Renew, wrong side of the basket trying to get the block, but the ball doesn't go. That's what Indiana's been able to do still, is just try and find ways to make it more difficult at least, and then go from there.
Well, Eastern Illinois has had difficult non-conference schedules over the years, and they had a rather successful season by their standards last year, 8-10 in OVC play, most wins in a season since the pandemic. Marty Simmons now in his 4th year as the Panther head coach. Graduated from Evansville, had a pretty good playing career as well, won back-to-back state championships, was awarded Mr. Basketball in Illinois in 1983, and a career 15.5 points, shot over 50%, and 74% from the free throw line during his playing career, both at Indiana and at Evansville. Finds his team down by 9, though, and needing a basket to slow this IU run down. Back into the game is Bowles after he twisted his ankle earlier in the half. Olaf Fioye had nowhere to go, and now a 3-ball on the way from Shelton. Too high off the heel. Bowles came down with the rebound, but it was snatched away by Mbako, but picking his pocket was Stapleton. creates a wide open three for Jacoby. He missed that short, and Baco grabs the rebound this time and opts to slow it down.
I think Jacoby had a little bit more time to try and survey than he thought.
Here's Tucker, the freshman, with his left hand using his right arm as a shield. Gets it off the glass and in. Tucker was just 1 for 5 on Wednesday and gets his second basket as a Hoosier. The lone true freshman on this roster was a part of the late window commitment to IU.
And he's a guy that Mike Woodson has said doesn't play like a freshman. Again, when you're the only one of them playing among a veteran team, it can be easy to get intimidated, but at the same time, you have to learn quickly, and he has from the sounds of it.
Indiana has a 5-on-4, and Ballo with the alley-oop throws it down. Galloway gets the assist. And another whistle as behind the play, Shelton went down. That is the cherry on top. Indiana has scored 20 of the last 22 points. The Panthers haven't scored in over 3 minutes, and that is just Indiana in transition at its finest.
That's something that Indiana has done a lot of the last couple years, the transition alley-oops, and now Ballo getting in on the fun. He's up to 15 points, has 6 boards as well. And again, it's Galloway, the provider. He knows how to throw it up, and Ballo, over his career, certainly knows how to throw it down.
Now, Ballo last year averaged about 13 points, and Galloway now up to 5 assists in just 11 minutes. Last year, Galloway led the team with 4.6, and here are the Hoosiers that have been awarded preseason. Look at 4 different guys, 4 different awards. Shows you that Indiana, talent-wise, towards not only the top of the Big Ten, but towards the top of the country as well.
Well, and it's spread out as well. It's not just having one guy on top. It's saying, hey, in each one of our positions, we have a guy who projects to be one of the better players in the country. And some of that comes from like Umar Ballo, Miles Rice, guys that are coming in. Others, guys who are homegrown, have really developed here at Indiana. The recruiting has been staggered in between those two areas, and Indiana seemingly has done well.
Yeah, it seems like once Mike Woodson found out the Pac-12 would really no longer exist, he said, all right, I'll get some guys from the Pac-12. Ballo from Arizona, Rice from Washington State, and Carlisle from Stanford. Oddly enough, when Rice and Carlisle faced off against each other last January, they both set career highs in scoring. Rice scored 35, and Carlisle scored 31. Washington State came out with the W. But little did those guys know, they're one of their best nights as a player. They'd end up as teammates just a year later. Stapleton driving left on Galloway. He met Mbako, and it was a tough shot, and then a jump ball, I believe, is called. As Renew and I think Stapleton were both trying to hold on to the ball. Looked like they were in for a bear hug for a moment. It's a 2 high five in the very end.
It's the second kind of tie-up in the end, and from my vantage point, it looked like Renew was saying, I'm trying, when everyone was trying to get him off of Stapleton. Another one of those, like we saw earlier on the opposite end of the floor, where two guys fighting for the basketball and just getting tangled up in the process.
I don't know about you, but I would not want to be Stapleton there at 6'3", 170 on the bottom of that pile with a 6'9", 232 Renew trying to grab the ball while you're both on the ground.
Absolutely not.
Gallo down low. There is Renew. Gets to his left and scores.
Again, Renew's first movement, catching the ball and the ability to change his body to open him up for his stronger left side. A great move, a great awareness in the post. And that's something that Renew has done well over the past year plus now.
That shot may have been deflected. Jacoby got the offensive rebound, couldn't get it back home. And Goody brings it down and hands it to Tucker, moving just in front of us. Mbako now with the basketball. Mbako has 16. Galloway will try one from beyond the arc. That one couldn't quite rattle down, but he credits Mbako for the pass and finding him in the corner. A foul called on that rebound, and that will take us to break. Indiana pulling away here, up 60-45 over Eastern Illinois. Stay with us here on Big Ten Plus. Back here at Assembly Hall for game number 2 of non-conference play for Indiana. We take a look at some of the storylines around the Big Ten. Big Ten has done very well so far in the non-conference play, and obviously when you have Purdue that has won 28 consecutive non-conference games at Mackey Arena, that certainly helps.
No Zach Edey, no problem right now. Braden Smith, who is projected to be the player of the year in the Big Ten, showing why. In Michigan, Dusty May, we've talked about the transfers that were highly coveted. Dusty May just as good as a transfer over to Michigan, bringing in a new head coach for a team that always has had interesting pieces. Even last year when they were in the cellar of the Big Ten, they were an interesting team. See what he's able to cook up over in Ann Arbor this year.
Hoping to have similar success to what Penn State had last year with a first-year head coach. Tucker off the inbound, gets to the basket and scores. Bryson Tucker, such an interesting fit for IU this year as a two-way combo player. Eastern Illinois very quiet offensively in this second half, looking to change that, and Frooster knocks down a 3. Well, I was about to say they were 3 of 14 in these first 8+ minutes of the second half, but Frooster said, Austin, hold on there, I'll knock down a 3 and change that. Galloway going the other way, tried to throw one down. Instead, that ball was blocked by Curtis. There was a foul in the middle of that, but Galloway went for the poster. Curtis said no, but got a little bit of Galloway's wrist as well.
I went through the left arm, it looked like, to try and block it. See the confidence there from Galloway. He's done that in transition several times, but to do that off the jump says, give me some space. I'll go right to the rack.
Galloway knocks down the first free throw. First time at the charity stripe today. Galloway was just 53% last year at the line. Bolies comes back in for Jacoby. And the size advantage, really seeing that in this second half. Just look at the way Ballo towers over Bolies. Bolies at 6'8", and Ballo a 7-footer. Galloway's second one is up a little bit short. And Baco trying to grab the rebound. Ball goes out of play. Both teams looking for the possession, but it will go back to the Panthers.
Yeah, that's the difficult thing for Eastern Illinois. They don't have a ton of height, and the guys that they do have that are taller, Bolies, for example, Culley, they're not necessarily scorers, which makes it really difficult to put multiple of them on the floor at the same time. The guard play is really what moves their offense. But unless you want to throw two guys who are more defensive-minded, it can be very difficult.
That ball went off of the foot of Shelton. And you mentioned the pressure it is on those three guards to score. And certainly the pressure mounting for Eastern Illinois as their deficit increases.
Just 10 points from outside of those three, Stapleton, Shelton, and Frooster, who combined for the rest.
Kale has 2 off the bench, and Jacoby has 8. Luke Goody in the corner. Now to Bryson Tucker into the lane, pulls up. Can't knock it down. And Baco grabs the rebound, puts it back up and in. 6th offensive rebound for IU on the day. And they're now leading by 17.
Looks like they took to heart what Mike Woodson said after that SIUE game about not getting beat on the offensive glass, especially Mackenzie and Baco. Again, that hustle to come in from outside to get the board.
Great defense from Galloway and Ballo. And Baco ahead to Goody. Brings the ball down, sees he's behind the line, fires, and connects. Luke Goody for 3, his second 3-ball of the game. Indiana's lead now up to 20. Frooster trying to respond. Can't do so. Tucker the rebound. Galloway, clever pass. Goody on the other side. Can't get it to go. Ballo couldn't bring down the rebound as Tucker went up for it. That 3 went in. I feel like they would have brought the house down.
Well, that's what Goody brings. A guy who's a sharpshooter and can really step into his shot. That's the same shot he was practicing in pregame warmups when we were here watching. It was step in, shoot, catch, shoot. Very quick release, and we saw it there on the make and then the miss.
And Baco checks out to a warm round of applause. Here is the Goody 3 that did go in. Ballo knew on the other end of the floor, put his hands up in the air. And Goody with that celebration. Last year, off the bench, averaged just 6 points, but shot the 3-ball at 39%. as he gets the steal here. Ahead to Galloway, clever pass to Tucker! Defense to offense, just like that. And Indiana's lead in the blink of an eye has gone up to 22.
My goodness, Austin. First the steal, the little clever flick on pass essentially from Galloway to find Tucker, and the freshman, it's his turn to jam one home. Just look at that, just a little tap almost on the side, no look from Galloway, and then Tucker getting up there.
70-48 the lead. Whatever that message was at halftime from Mike Woodson clearly worked. I don't know if it was a halftime snack that worked either, but whatever it was, Indiana has responded quite well. Ballo gets the rebound. Rice directing traffic ahead. Finds Goody. He tried another three. That one wouldn't go. And Shelton comes down with the rebound. Goody's got plenty of IU history in his family. His uncle Trent Green played 12 years in the NFL. Ironically, his cousin Ben Skoranek won a Super Bowl with the Rams a few years ago as a receiver. And his father Craig was a two-way football player at IU for 2 years. Recorded one touchdown in 1996, and he credits former IU player Matt Roth, who has trained him since 8th grade. So a true homecoming for Goody from Fort Wayne, went to Homestead rather.
Well, that football heritage, I'm sure he would have enjoyed the game yesterday over at Memorial Stadium, just a little bit to the west of us.
A little bit of a quick turnaround from last night's game, which started at 3:30 and definitely dragged on. Rice gets all the way to the basket and scores.
And Austin, this is an Indiana team. It feels like when they get their confidence, the possibilities are endless for this team. They were playing a little bit off balance in the first half. Another tie-up on the other end. They scored as many in this period already in 12 minutes as they did the entire first half. But once they've gotten things going their way, the confidence to step into a three from Goody in transition, to drive to the cup if you're Rice. It's just when they get their confidence going, it clicks.
And it's clicked so far in the second half as Ja'Kai Newton checks in for the first time as a Hoosier. The redshirt freshman underwent a knee procedure last August. And a two-way guard, which Indiana really could have needed last year. Top 100 player, ranked at number 64 by Rivals. He's into the game, but quickly we'll go to immediate timeout. Indiana up 72-48 over Eastern Illinois on Big Ten Plus.
The FCC added 2 words to an affirmative action clause that applied to local TV station hiring, and women. For the first time, local stations around the country would be looking for women. The image of a woman and a man sitting together in apparently equal positions had a big impact. I'm Jane Pauley, broadcast journalist and graduate of Indiana University.
What makes the Big Ten so big? For starters, it's coast to coast. 18 of the country's most iconic universities. It's 110,000 people going berserk in a whiteout big. It's Defend the Rock, Jump Around, and the biggest bass drum on earth big. It's a stadium so big.
They had to name it the Big House. Go Blue!
It's dotting the I big.
Let's go Bugs.
It's all-time leading scorer big. It's Husker Tunnel Walk big. And Paul Bunyan's axe big. It's Rutgers Rock, Fear the Turtle, Oski Wow Wow, and Sparty doing big Sparty things. It's red, scarlet, maroon, cardinal, purple, green, black, yellow, gold, orange, and any other color under the sun big. And now that USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington have joined the party, it's feeling real big. Right, Matt?
I'm ready. Fight on. Boys up, baby.
Let's get it. Go Dogs.
Nah, it's all about the O.
And where can you catch more sports games, matches, hits, goals, saves, aces, buzzer beaters, sprints, spikes, putts, pins, vaults, dives, and touchdowns every Big Ten season? The Big Ten Network. This is big.
Back here at Assembly Hall for the signature under 8 media timeout. And Indiana fans very happy to stand up and clap as their team leading in the second half 36-11 after they went into halftime trailing by 1. They lead 72-48 alongside Alex Hines, Kara Adams, and our entire Big Ten Plus crew. I am Austin Platt. Thanks for choosing to stick with us here on this Sunday afternoon. Been a busy weekend here in Bloomington, as we mentioned before the break, Alex. Big win yesterday on the gridiron. Indiana advances to 10-0, gets 10 wins for the first time in program history. That momentum is carried over into the second half today.
It sure has. It's been a turn of the tables at halftime, and you mentioned it's a busy week. This is the fourth game in this venue alone in just 6 days, between this being the second men's game, the second women's game happening on Thursday. Plenty of hometown action here in Bloomington, and right now, fans have been getting their money's worth.
Officials trying to sort some things out. The crew today, Brian Dorsey, Michael Reed, and Jason Phillips. It'll be Indiana ball, as the Hoosiers have really put their foot on the gas pedal in the second half, leading 72-48. Remember, this Eastern Illinois team lost 112-67 to Illinois. There's another dunk from Tucker. Another feed from Galloway. How about that for an alley-oop? And Tucker shows that he's got some hops.
How about another Bryson Tucker? He's already got one, hadn't gotten his fill yet.
Galloway with 5 points and 8 assists now. He has been dynamite for Indiana as a co-captain. Ballo gets in on the fun with a block on the defensive end and gives them the Mutombo no.
Again, Austin, it feels like Indiana, when they get that little bit of momentum, the swagger starts to show a little bit. The finger wag from Ballo, the goody three-pointer in celebration on the other end. Bryson Tucker getting a chance to show his athleticism on dunks. Once it clicks, Indiana finally getting in gear.
A bunch of different guys getting in on the fun. Indiana has 19 bench points. They really struggled with that on Wednesday. Jacoby ran out of time on the shot clock. It's a shot clock violation. Indiana has really turned things up defensively as well. They've only allowed 11 points in the first 13 or so minutes in this second half.
And again, it's good positioning. They've been playing tighter around the perimeter and not allowing those quick shots off of screens that EIU was able to use so often in the first half.
Tucker now up to 8 points. Here's Ja'Kai Newton on the baseline. Nearly stepped out of bounds, but at the last second, got it off to Galloway. He's in trouble with the double team. The ball goes off of Galloway's knee in the end. A good trap by Eastern Illinois, and they'll retain the ball as Indiana looking to apply some press. Stapleton up the floor. He's just got 2 second half points. Frooster only has 3 himself. Driving into the lane is Stapleton. He got through everybody, but couldn't get it to go. Newton brings down the rebound. His first as a Hoosier. The lob this time, trying to get another one to Tucker. He couldn't get it. Ballo goes back up with it, scores, plus the foul.
Ballo playing mop up in the end, and that's how many times have we seen Oumar Ballo, 2 Panthers draped around him, able to still try and get up and get himself to the line with the bucket. His strength is going to be huge when you talk about Big Ten play, when it gets so physical in conference play. Having a guy like Oumar Ballo, 7-footer, can fight through contact. He's the kind of guy you want in this conference.
Can't finish off the three-point play. 1 for 2 today from the line. He was at right about 50% last year. So those metrics holding true again in this game. Frooster tries a 3. He had a good look at it, but couldn't get it to go. Stapleton comes in for the offensive rebound, kicks it back out, and gets it back. Now driving left, refuses the screen. Was met by Ballo, who fouled him. The 7-footer running into the 6'3" graduate guard in Stapleton. And it is a shooting foul, so Stapleton will go to the line for 2.
Bit of a mismatch size-wise, let's say.
Both veteran guys. Ballo in his 6th year. As we mentioned earlier, started his career at Gonzaga. Stapleton's first one is up and no good. And now all those hungry students Waiting in the balance, pending a missed free throw, is free fries. Stapleton 2 for 3 today from the charity stripe. A lot of pressure on this one. Got it to go. Seems like there are a lot of hungry fans in the stands, Alex.
Well, again, it's a college town. They're always hungry.
Newton trying to get it to Bala, nearly lost control of it, but picks it back up. Here's Gabe Cupps and Carlisle driving. And Carlisle gave himself a little too much separation, dug the elbow right into Frooster. And that's an offensive foul on Kaden Carlisle, his second. Carlisle 0 for 4 from the field today, trying to create some offense himself, but used a little bit too much of that elbow and gets called for it.
He's a guy who, his defense is the part that really talks, but will need to find a little bit more on the offensive side. Again, you mentioned has not scored, struggled on the offensive side in the first game as well. Just needs to find his footing.
Here's Stapleton, now Frooster. And now into the game is Gerbovich. Pass it inside. That shot wouldn't go from Jacoby. Down on the floor is Shelton. Gerbovich tried to go back up with it, but Balo said no. Stapleton grabs it, can't get the layup to go. Indiana in transition. Gabe Cupps looking for the lob for Carlisle, who couldn't get it to go. Went all around the rim, just wouldn't fall.
As a crowd, you wouldn't know what the scoreline is in this game. Every single offensive possession, the lob, you can hear the bated breath as it goes in the air.
Here's Carlisle with it now for Tucker. And Mike Woodson wants to call timeout. Nearly bumped into the official there. It's Indiana's second timeout of the game. We'll keep it right here at Assembly Hall, 76-49, the lead for Indiana. We've talked about how experience matters, Alex, especially now with the transfer portal. This is a very experienced Eastern Illinois team. Stapleton, a graduate guard, Shelton, a senior guard, and Frooster, a junior guard. So this three-guard set, all guys that have at least 2 years under their belt.
Yeah, and again, talked about how it could help them in this game, and it did in the first half. But I think also when you look at the OVC, that there's a lot of transfers coming into that conference, and I think that's really going to help them because, again, if you're not recruiting transfers, you're behind the 8 ball, basically. And so to be proactive, as Coach Simmons has been, bringing in guys that fit what he's looking for his team, guys who can really run the floor, have speed on the offensive end, I think they're going to be able to use that when they get into conference play.
We talked about non-conference play. Here's a look at Indiana's next 3 games. That big non-conference game here at Assembly Hall is next Saturday. Indiana will have 6 days off before they play South Carolina. And then their final tune-up before Atlantis is UNC Greensboro the following Thursday. And the Hoosiers head to the Bahamas for really what could decide how the non-conference schedule is viewed and how they do in the battle for Atlantis, which begins with Louisville, a team Indiana played last year at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's an interesting slate over there in the Bahamas, but again, Louisville's an interesting team. They just came off of a loss to a good Tennessee side that Indiana saw in an exhibition, if you want to put any stock into that. But again, even that Louisville team, you don't want to bat an eye at them because they're a good team. South Carolina's a good team, even though they've had losses in their early slates.
Langdon Hatton checks back into the game. The Bellarmine transfer. Only 2 minutes for him thus far. Carlisle knocks one down from downtown. Kaden Carlisle, his first 3-ball of the afternoon. Shot exactly 100 of them last year, knocked down 32 at Stanford. A honorable mention on the Pac-12 freshman team list. Stapleton trying to respond, and he does. R.T. Stapleton, quiet in the second half so far, but now up to 12 points. He's in double figures as 3 starters for Eastern Illinois have at least 10. Here's Tucker driving right, pulls up, mid-range J is pure. How good has Bryson Tucker looked in this game? He's up to 10 points, 5 of 7 from the field.
Again,
Indiana up 29.
Again, he just looks comfortable, Austin. out there, able to just go in there, take that tough mid-range jumper. Doesn't feel like he's a freshman out there.
Gerbovich feeds it back to Olaf Fioye. 6 left on the timer for Stapleton, guarded by the opposing number 2 and Gabe Cups. 3 seconds left, trying to bounce it inside. Newton got his hand in the passing lane, and Cups can bring it the other way. Cups and Newton both looking for their first baskets of the game and for the season. Newton looking for his first basket as a Hoosier, missed short on that occasion.
You want to know how this game has gone and how Bryson Tucker is playing in that transition. He was looking expectantly for an alley-oop attempt on that transition. Every single time his eyes are looking up, he's waiting for it.
Frooster guarded by Newton. 3 ball on the way from Olaf Fioye, off the mark. Newton skies for the rebound and gets fouled. Indiana is in the bonus, so it'll be a 1-and-1 for Ja'Kai Newton when we get back from this final media timeout. Indiana leading Eastern Illinois 81-52. They're on a 19-4 run over the last 8.5 minutes. 2:44 left here at Assembly Hall. Be back in a moment on Big Ten Plus. Indiana a few minutes away from closing out their second win of the season. We looked at Indiana's schedule before the last media timeout, and here's a look at Eastern Illinois' schedule. I mentioned they finish off their Big Ten non-conference slate with Northwestern, and then they're home for DePaul, and then go to Valparaiso as well. So keeping it pretty close in the Midwest area for non-conference play, but obviously Eastern Illinois got some pretty tough tests, and when we talked to Marty Simmons, he said it's a good test for these guys and also does a good job on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the opportunity to play on the road at some tough places and, again, just test yourself because you never know what can happen. Again, we talked about them beating Iowa a couple years ago. You want to put yourself out there and see because you'll never know really how good you are unless you take your chance against a top-level team. And in the end, those aren't the losses that are going to hurt you.
Last year, Eastern Illinois, as we said earlier, 14-18, 8-10 in the Big Ten, which is a big jump from 2 years ago when they won only 9 games and were 5-13 in OVC play. Ja'Kai Newton will go to the free throw line. They're in the bonus, so it's a 1-and-1 for Newton. Still looking for his first points as a Hoosier. Did not play last year, underwent a knee procedure in August of 2023, has worked his way back, and it's supposed to be an important piece for Indiana off the bench. Indiana has just so much more depth at the guard position this year. Newton misses the free throw short, and Jacoby grabs the rebound.
And again, Newton's one of those guys who was touted as one of those athletic speedster kind of guards that they now have more of with guys like Miles Rice, but he was kind of the first of that bunch when he came in, but because of the injury, has been made to wait one more year.
Only one starter, and Cannon Carlisle out there for Indiana. Foul is called on Tucker, and I believe the basket is going to count. No, it's not. They're going to wave it off. Regardless, the Panthers are in the bonus too. So it's going to be a 1-and-1 here for Cooper Jacoby. 53% last year from the charity stripe. Graduate forward, misses his 1-and-1 short. and Tucker grabs the rebound. Tucker 10 points and now 5 rebounds as he picked up that foul. Newton will get his chance at a straightaway 3. Off the mark, Hatton back up and in. Langdon Hatton, his first points as a Hoosier, averaged 10.5 last year at Bellarmine. So now Newton and Cupps, the only guys that have come into the game for Indiana that have yet to score. Ballo, Renew, and Mbako, 17, 17, and 18 points apiece. They have paced Indiana in this one. Jacoby's 3 is a little short. Ball gets knocked out of bounds. It'll be Indiana basketball with 96 seconds left. And this one is Indiana closing out on a big non-conference victory. And there is the tap in from Hatton. His first points in the cream and crimson. Hatton at 6'10", 247 from Georgetown, Indiana, now a senior. Tucker baseline back out. Carlisle's 3 is off the mark. It won't count. There was a whistle beforehand. Blocking foul called on Isaiah Griffin, a sophomore guard from New Jersey.
And again, it was Tucker who is getting a chance to continue to get that sustained bit of play. Something that Indiana has done a bit more of under Mike Woodson is you come in as a freshman, if you showcase in the preseason what you can do, you're going to get your minutes. And Tucker has impressed in the preseason and is starting to impress here in the regular season.
Both teams with 9 fouls, so it's still a 1-on-1 situation as Tucker knocks down the first. As the Panthers essentially clear the bench. Tucker knocks them both down. Up to 12 points for the freshman. 4 guys in Indiana for double figures, 3 for the Panthers. Here's Griffin now running the floor. Griffin all the way, and a blocking foul is called on Gabe Cupps, who jumps up and down and has a huge smile on his face, grinning from ear to ear. Not in agreement with the call, and that puts Indiana over the limit. It'll be 2 shots. And you can see Griffin's holding on to Gabe Cupps' leg. That's maybe why Cupps thinks the call didn't go his way.
Was pushing him out towards the outside, but yeah, again, it was a tussle that went both ways in the end, and Cupps didn't have much of anything on him outside of just showing him to the outside.
Griffin knocked the first one down. Was 12 of 17 last year from the charity stripe. Averaged just under 3 points, had 12 points on Wednesday against Earlham. Second one is up and good as well. A ton of transfers on this Eastern Illinois team. Experience is something that matters for Marty Simmons, guys who want to be coached. It goes beyond just what your ability on the floor, it's off the floor as well. A minute left here at Assembly Hall. Carlisle tries a straightaway 3 and connects. Kanan Carlisle with his second 3-pointer of this half. He's got 6 points. Indiana's lead is at 34. They trailed by 1 at halftime and have put 52 points in the second half so far. Looking for more here. Cupps gets the steal, going the other way. Gets to Newton. Thought about a mid-range jumper instead to the basket, up and under. How's that for your first points as a Hoosier? (90-54) in the final 20 seconds or so. Panthers will probably get off one more shot. Terry McMorris, the freshman forward into the game, got fouled, and he will go to the line for a pair. How about this drive from Newton?
Goes under, puts the English on it, and you can tell what it means both to his teammates and to the crowd who were wanting to see Ja'Kai Newton last year, the teammates that know what he's been through to try and get back, and finally able to get on the score sheet. That's got to feel good for him, but again, for all the people around him that have been waiting to see this moment finally.
Yeah, when you're rehabbing for essentially over a year, that's a big weight lifted off the shoulders. McMorris got the first, can't get the second. And the fans who maybe were a little bit spoiled by getting free fries on the first time of asking on Wednesday against SIUE are going to have to wait on some French fries, but they're not going to have to wait much longer for Indiana's second win of the year. A dominant 90-55 win, a tale of two halves. Indiana wins the second half 54-18, and the 17th ranked Hoosiers take care of business and win this one by 35, Alex.
Tale of two halves, Austin. It started off with a bit of grit. Indiana had to fight for it, but that's kind of what you want to have, is to have to fight through those first half struggles. Second half, absolutely dominant. They found their offensive footing, but more importantly, able to get those stops defensively, showcasing a bit more of what this 2024-25 identity is going to be.
Indiana held Eastern Illinois just 17% from the field in the second half, just 2 of 10 from downtown. Hoosiers on the other end shot 65% from the field in the second 20 minutes, and we've seen slow starts in both of the first 2 games, but the fact that this team can turn around and figure it out at halftime is something that is very encouraging for these Hoosier fans who are now heading for the exits.
Well, especially because when you get to Big Ten play, you're going to have those games that you need to turn things around on a dime when you're playing those tough oppositions, and that's where this almost turns into a really good test for them to try and learn what it's going to be like when you play those conference games later in the year.
Well, there'll be another Big Ten team for Eastern Illinois on the horizon. They'll head to Northwestern next week. Indiana has 6 days off before they play South Carolina. And now one of the stars of the game, Umar Ballo, is with our very own Kara Adams.
Thanks, Austin. Umar, what a performance for you today. What was working for you on the floor?
I think like the guys tried to find me, in the open spaces, and when I was sealing, the ball was finding me, and also my energy. There's a ball find energy, so I tried to play with a lot of energy today.
We saw a lot of that energy and your passion today. How much are you enjoying playing in Assembly Hall?
No, it's fun, man. It's really fun. Coach trusts me a lot. He put the ball in my hand to make plays, and I'm trying to take advantage of that.
6 days off before you guys host South Carolina. What are you taking away from today into that game?
We started really bad, and I feel like we should not start bad. We should not start bad at all, especially like as a good team. No disrespect to Eastern Illinois, but we got to start game a little bit better. We dug a hole, but fortunately for us, we were able to get back up and got a job done.
All right, thank you, Umar. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kara. The tradition of sideline reporters interviewing people a head taller than them continues, but here's a look at the highlights, Alex. Indiana was just dominant in the second half.
And the lob threats in transition, it was a fast, frenetic pace of play, and Indiana were up to the task in the second half, finding some of their shooting and keeping that pace going here in their game number 2.
Indiana finishes off this one 90-55, and Baco leads the team with 18 points. Both Ballo and Renew had 17. Bryson Tucker off the bench had 12 for the Eastern Illinois Panthers. Stapleton had 12, Shelton had 17, and Frooster had 13. A big thank you to our entire Big Ten Plus crew, for our director Henry Thuss, our producer Brian Costello, for Kara Adams and Alex Hines. I'm Austin Platt, signing off from Assembly Hall. Indiana wins this one 90-55. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, folks. We'll talk to you next time.